Welcome to our short IBC Bytes Flame 2016 Extension 1 videos. This one we'll have a quick look at a new compositing tool that we've included in this release called the GMask Tracer. GMask Tracer is available in several places. You can see here that there's a new entry on the actual timeline, which is really good. You can apply it in the timeline and use it to cut through very difficult things. We are, in this particular case, going to look at it in the context of batch, because it's probably a little bit more easy to explain what's going on. Now what we've got here is kind of like a fairly complex shot. So we're going to nip into batch first off. I'm just going to hide this. And we're just going to have a look at our reference for what we've got. So the end shot of this is this lady snatching a bottle of water away from the line. You don't want to do that because apparently lines get very upset about this. What we actually had to work with, let's just split our screen down to two for a little bit, is obviously the back plate of the lady doing her thing, snatching the bottle, and then the line not really shot any kind of green screen. It's quite funny how they did the bottom of the table in green, because that's obviously the most difficult thing to cut out. So the idea is we've got to somehow separate off the line from the very complex background that we've got there, and obviously comp it in. So this would have been a bit of a nightmare before, and doing keys and things like that. So this brings us to our new tool called the GMask Tracer tool. It will look very familiar to some of you. It's kind of a bit of a subset of action. That's the way it presents itself, with all the good things that entails. But it is purely made for making keys, and we've done some enhancements to the actual GMask tool to make that even easier still. The nice thing about the GMask Tracer tool is a couple of things. We can combine multiple masks very easily, and we can use all the tools that you're familiar with in action, tracking and things like that, and 3D camera tracking and the like. But it also now has an integrated advanced keyer built into it as well, and some other bits and pieces. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a GMask, and the idea is that we're going to actually sort of break this line down into sections. So let's add a GMask into here. Frame this up. See, this all looks fairly familiar so far. Now we're going to be drawing this in sort of like our result view for a minute. So if we say we're going to break this line into different sections, actually let's start off on the main. So we're going to do the back part here, something like this. Now initially, if we go to our object view, all we've actually done here is we've just kind of drawn this mask. Now, in this particular case, you can see that the line moves a little bit, so we're going to be looking at some of the new options that we have down within this. We've actually got a new edit box tool, which makes it very easy to do rotoscoping now. So if we kind of hunt for our first frame of movement, so it's kind of around about there, just going to set a keyframe. So this looks good here. Then as this progresses through, maybe we want to start moving some of these points around. Now before you had to go multi-select these and move them. Now what you can do with the edit box on is that we can kind of select, it draws an edit box around, and this is kind of like a scalable, rotatable, if that's even a word, movable object that just makes it very easy to grab points and start scaling them through. So we've got this like animation there, and then maybe a little bit more down towards the end. Where's our last frame? Sort of about there. We could take some of these. Right, it just makes it very easy to start doing rotoscoping without all the kind of associated headaches. Right. So it kind of gets this. Now at this point, it doesn't really do much for mask. If we have a look at our result view here, we can see that we've just got a big solid shape, where we've drawn our spline, which is kind of what you would sort of expect. What makes this really nice is that if we come down into the GMask tools, we now have a tracer option, and what we're going to do is we can add a single point of reference or multiple points of reference throughout the clip to generate some kind of key. So on the analysis, we're going to be back at frame 1. We're going to add one, and we get two boxes. We get a foreground box, and we get a background box sampling area. Now there's an extra mode to the object view in the GMask Tracer. So if you hit F8 again, it's going to show you the key that we are creating at that point. You can see as you manipulate the foreground or the background boxes, it affects that key that is then contained within the spline. So the spline acts as kind of like a boundary. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do. You can add multiple foreground and background boxes. We've also got down here some background softness. We've got some foreground softness for the key. We can do a little bit of blur. We can do some dilate as well. We can do some kind of like shrink and things to get our key nice. If we look back in this side and look at our F4 result, you can see that what we've actually got now is we've got a key that is sort of kind of doing a nice fine detail around there. We can block in the rest afterwards. Now, the reason why this is kind of so useful is that it's very easy then to combine multiple keys very quickly. So if we come back into an open, we add another GMask, and we say, right, we're going to start animating around maybe the front of the line. So we're going to do something around this area, and we can start to overlap these. Okay, something like this. Go into our F8 solo mode, come down to our tracking tools. We're just going to snap this so you can see what's going on. Do a quick analysis. This won't be perfect, but we're going to use our edit box to sort of manipulate this through again. So something like this. Commentary from my colleague in the background. That's perfect. And what's nice about this, once again, we can say, well, we're going to kind of set a key there, then we can just go through, and as things start to maybe not work out quite as planned, we can go through and we can just kind of manipulate the boxes. Okay, you kind of get the idea. Something like this, and once again, it's all about the last frame. So we've got an animating mask with this, and we would do exactly the same thing then. We come back into our tracer, we would go and add, so we've got the boxes. We're going to do a background one there, a foreground one there. Go into our F8 view again to kind of see how that's kind of looking. Modify these, and if we come back out to this viewport and we look at our result view, you can see now what we've got is we've got two articulated masks that are combining with different keys, and obviously we're going to refine that edge around there a little bit. Okay, so it's a nice way of making very quick rotoscoping that also has edge detection and keying functionality built in. If we come back to our batch for a second, just to show you how good this is, because we obviously did this for the whole line, we're just going to load up another iteration, so we're going to replace this. This is our final comp with all our bits and pieces going on in it. But what actually you're going to look at is this GMask Tracer node here, and you can see that I've done an articulated mask using all those same techniques. It's very quick to do. We just literally break the line down into pieces, bits that move, bits that don't move, different areas. And if we look at the resultant key of this, you can see that what we've actually got from something that is definitely unkeyable in one go is that we've got a really kind of nice articulated mat with all that keying going on, which then allows us to comp that into our shot down here in a very nice, elegant way. Kind of park on with these, and you can see literally no fringing or anything. Really nice kind of way of working. So that is a new GMask Tracer tool. I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. It's very, very useful, and it's going to make rotoscoping with inside of Flame 2016 Extension 1 very enjoyable. Thanks for watching.